Hey everybody, welcome to Design Uncut. No cuts, no edits, no bullshit. So, in today's podcast, in today's episode, we are talking about the five don'ts or the five things to avoid as a UX and UI designer. So, the number one key point that you should avoid or you shouldn't do is get inspired by the wrong type of designs or the wrong type of trends. How do you filter out designs which are valuable and designs which are just trendy? Number one, look at the pioneers or look at the best designed applications on the App Store or on the Play Store. If you go to the Play Store or the App Store, you will find applications on the top of the list. There are curated lists of the top apps or the top games or whatever your genre is. Look at those applications, observe them. There is a website which shows you screenshots of each and every application out there in on one website on one page. So I'll give the link to that. I am forgetting the name of it, but definitely I'll give a link to that in the description of this podcast. But definitely you should avoid looking at trendy designs on Dribble and Behance. I feel Dribble and Behance is great for quick solutions, for solutions like how do you make a cool switch or how do you make cool interactions. I think for those kind of designs, these platforms like Dribble and Behance are great. Behance definitely has bigger proper projects. Dribble is more quick design, quick stuff that you can follow along with, but definitely make sure that you are following along with a lot of these top ranking applications or top rated designed and the best designed applications. Example I can definitely give is visually I feel Zomato and Swiggy are really good. Swiggy is very clean. Just in the food space. You can always check out something like Flipkart. They really do work on their front end as well. Apart from that, there are tons of applications which are designed well. Headspace has amazing designs, amazing colors, and I think you should check it out. So look at these leading applications which are actually existing rather than just these fictional applications that people create. That's number one. Let's come to point number two. Point number two is also, I think, very, very crucial. And the second point is don't. Don't follow advice from the wrong people. And what do I mean by wrong people is don't follow advice from people who have very little to no knowledge of content creation. What I mean by that is there are a lot of designers who have no idea of what they're posting on Behance or Dribble or YouTube or whatever. And the thing with a lot of people where I've heard from a lot of people. A lot of people tell me about how you know some seniors of their who was into UX and UI told them these things are correct or these things are wrong. And the problem is they ended up doing those things or not doing those things and they became miserable. So I suggest when you're taking advice from somebody, make sure that person, first of all, has some idea of mentorship. Because from people who have no idea of how to mentor somebody, even a simple sentence like you should try out visual design. A simple sentence like that can be put in a very different manner by somebody who says, "This is the future visual design. You are great at visual design, and you should stick to that." That would be wrong advice because I just said you should stick with that, or there can be words which can trigger you, and that can literally harm your career for life. People will start thinking in a way that okay, this is somebody who's senior, there's somebody who's influential. If he's telling me something, it is gonna be correct, but it's not 100% correct. Like when you go to a doctor, if you have a disease, okay, or if you have maybe a fracture or something like that, and you go to a doctor and he gives you certain tests and asks you to do certain tests, you do those tests. Often what happens is if you take a second opinion, if you take an opinion from somebody who is maybe more experienced or has a certain type of experience, Oftentimes a second opinion in medicine can lead to you saving your own life. Very similarly, asking for opinions, asking for advice, asking for tips and tricks from leaders in design can lead to a very, very dark future. So I suggest always take at least 2 to 3 people's opinions on a certain subject wherever you are going as a designer. Point number 3, or I'd say the point that changed my life. The point that changed my life. Don't don't hide behind the curtains. And what I mean by that is often what designers do is they think they'll isolate themselves and their work very well. That is true. But what they don't realize is that isolation in balance is great. If I'm working on my laptop right here, and if I'm distracted by 100 other things, that'll be wrong. That'll lead to me being less productive. But imagine isolating yourself and not really putting out stuff and communicating with the world enough. Go out and start communicating. LinkedIn right now is one of the hottest platforms for communication of any sorts. If you want to rant about something, if you want to give your opinion about something, or if you want to share something, it doesn't have to be your own content. You could always give your opinion on someone else's. You could share a design and say, hey, I love this design. I think this trend is really good. It is going in this way. You know what will happen is people will start communicating back with you. If you're communicating with a platform, people on that platform will communicate back with you. I suggest every week, once a week at least, share something with LinkedIn, the LinkedIn community or Instagram community. Put it there and ask for people's opinions. Literally ask in their face, I really need your opinion. I would appreciate your opinion. So once you do that, people will not only recognize you, but you will also get a lot of motivation from different sorts of people. And the 2 points that I stated, getting the wrong mentorship and also getting into the wrong space of creating the wrong kind of designs, you will be safe from those 2 things if you start doing this, because you will get second opinions from a lot of people. That'll be like 10 opinions maybe. Second, 10th opinion. You might get a 10th opinion which will change your life. So always communicate, always network. Right now, there are not a lot of meetups, but go to a lot of live sessions. I do a lot of live sessions. Saptarshi does a lot of live sessions. Siddharth does a lot of live sessions. Go to their live sessions and just chat with people. Ask questions, communicate. Be a solid part of the community. What will happen is if you become a part of the community, they will welcome you with warm hugs. But if you try and isolate yourself from the community, they will have a hard time bringing you into the community or accepting you. So if you really look for recognition and acceptance, that's key. So number 4 is don't don't focus on tools. This is something I cannot strain enough, and I'll tell you why I cannot strain enough on this point. Tools, design tools, like any other tools, is subjective. If somebody is great at a tool doesn't mean you have to be as well. If you are starting off with a tool, make sure you have 3 points in mind. Number 1, this is an easy to use tool and I'm comfortable with it. Number 2, this is not my last tool. I will learn more tools. I will keep myself flexible. Number 3, I will definitely explore more options regardless of which company I'm working with. So if you are, say, working in a company where Sketch is mandatory, you can use Sketch. But apart from that, maybe because Sketch doesn't support a lot of animation and stuff like that, you can always go on to something like Protopie or Framer or something like that, which allows you to prototype and do that on your own time. Of course, the company won't appreciate if you're maybe wasting your time on your desk trying out a new tool. But once you really get to know that new tool, you'll be able to create things that other people around you aren't able to. So be flexible with tools is what I say. Don't get stuck on one tool. Don't say, okay, Adobe XD is my final tool. I love Adobe XD. I'll only use this tool. Make sure you know each and every other tool so that when the time comes or when it is needed, you are flexible. And trust me, companies and interviews will I'll oftentimes ask you which tools you use or if you're comfortable with a certain tool. And your answer should always be yes. I have used every tool and I'm flexible with it. I know all the features, I know how to use them, and they'll be happy with it. So make sure you're flexible. The last point, which I don't know why I made this last, I think it should have been first, but nevertheless, never ever consider yourself a designer. And I'll tell you why. Because designer is a concept which is misconceived by a lot of people. The concept of design is very vast. And what I mean by that is design should be a function. Your main goal is to provide value for the users in business, and that's it. You are, consider yourself an entrepreneur who is creating a product. That is what you should consider yourself as. Of course, writing a UX designer on your portfolio or UX designer on LinkedIn seems cool. But at the end of the day, if you have the entrepreneurial spirit, if you have the spirit of creating good results for your business as well as for the users, you're done, man. You are ready to go into the real world. So make sure you don't follow this pattern of, okay, I'm just designing. Don't have that misconception in your head. Have this conception in your head that you are a businessman. You are an entrepreneur creating a product. And see how that changes everything. At least the UX design process will be so much easier once you think like that. Because you're thinking from 2 points of views. The users and the business. Two of the most crucial stakeholders in any organization or in any project. So make sure you stick to these five no-nos or 5 don'ts of UX and UI design. And I'm sure you will be able to gain more in a shorter amount of time, and with less hard work, you will then start putting in smart work. I hope you liked today's podcast. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up or like or share, whatever you like. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube, to the podcast if you're on any other platform, and make sure to keep following me for such amazing podcasts. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.